Dice Age is made possible thanks to the support of our patrons. Thank you very much, and enjoy the show.
The Empire of Maca has existed for nearly 1,000 years. Founded and ruled by Ava the Main, the immortal empress, it quickly expanded its borders thanks to the overwhelming power of its mages and the shrewd politics of its nobles. Now it has fully conquered the centre of the continent of Almera, and although war has ended, peace still eludes its populace. As the Empire nears its first millennia, the signs of turmoil have become more frequent and apparent. Monsters are becoming more bold, nobles plot schemes of usurpation, and whispers of rebellion hang heavy in the slums. This gave rise to the adventurer. These strong individuals of all races and classes lend their might to the citizens of Maca to drive back monstrous incursions. There are even adventurers who perform deeds so noble that the people can see beyond their race to the hero that lays within. There are those who criticise these adventurers and claim they're nothing more than pawns used to advance the political machinations of nobles. Despite the immortal Empress herself making fewer and fewer appearances, there are those whose faith in the Empire remains unshaken. But the wise know that it only takes a few sparks to ignite the flames of change. Allow me to introduce you to these sparks. Welcome to Almera.
Hello and welcome to Dice Age, a real play D&D show. My name is Jack and I'm the Dungeon Master. Along with me as always are our wonderful heroes. Would you all go around and introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, it's AJ and I play Edgar Wood, the half-elf blood hunter.
Hey, I'm Alice Rose. I play T, the elven sorceress.
Hello, I'm Mitchell and I play Essa Reyes, the human rogue.
Hello, this is Zach. I'm playing Tauros, your tiefling paladin.
Hey, this is Trey, and I'm playing Oberon Perseus Maximus Germanicus Cornelius Alexander Claudius II, your drow fighter.
All right, so normally I don't do this, but today, before we started, I would just kind of wanted to check in. How's everyone doing? Has there been any interesting stuff going on? Any shows you've been watching?
Not
Chilling.
really. I don't know. But I think I had a pretty good idea for the recap. Kind of relate to shows. I don't know if you want me to get started with it.
Oh yeah, no. Let's see it then.
Wait, what's happening? A recap? But I can't possibly do a recap at the same level as Protag-san. I don't know what to do.
Oh, silly boy. You might as well give up. Without Protag, I, Villanessa, will become the ultimate mega dark evil recap queen of all Recapia. Once I'm done, all recaps will be bullet points without a single joke.
No! Villanessa's too strong. I can't beat her. I'm just a spunky sidekick type.
Take this! Secret Spark Notes technique. Hazard notes.
I've been hit with a shitty recap of the weapons and magic items the group identified. She just wrote that they all got dumb items from the weak AF aberrant adventurers. She didn't even mention that she got a really cool dagger that lets her Misty Step. Essa got the perfect rogue sword, and Oberon...
Oh no, you don't, fool. That's too much recapping for my taste.
No! I've been covered with post-it notes! Help!
It's over, Recapia. There's a new best recapper in the world.
Not so fast!
What? Impossible!
What? Protag-san? But you were away with the Four Shadows on Mount Sumaria!
I was, but I came back as soon as I heard what Villanessa did. Give her back or I'll hit you with an attack as strong as the hefty hammer Oberon received.
A recap quick attack? You certainly have gotten stronger. But it's too late. I've already captured the love of your life.
No! Beholder John!
Protag-kun, please save me.
You've gone too far, Villanessa. Just like the Empire when they created a fucked up monster form of the legendary hero Radimus Rex. They even combined his body with his trusty horse.
Terrible notes techniques, not knowing the lore. Sorry, who was that? I wasn't paying attention.
She's too powerful. What do I do?
Protag.
What? Grandpa Wallace. But you were killed by Villanessa before I started my adventure.
Protag, you're stronger than her. You must live up to my dream of being the best rogue capper in the world. Much like how Oberon and Edgar dreamed of being adventurers just like Radimus Rex.
You're right, Grandpa. I trained too hard to give up now. Super Ultimate Recap Summary Dragon Shadow Technique. Way too in-depth lore drop.
And so, Protag unleashed an hour-long recap of Oberon and Edgar's backstory, admiring the dwarf hero Radimus Rex. As Villanessa recoiled, he went for the finishing blow.
It's over, Villanessa. Take this. Fight recap technique. Interpretive dance.
Protag proceeded to reenact the battle between heroes and the monstrous Radimus. Near-death experiences for the likes of Tauros, Edgar trying desperately to recite the Asori prayer to Femora, terrifying attacks from Radimus, and incredible crits like Tauros' clutch death save.
And this one is for you, Beholder Chan. Go! Impactful cliffhanger!
I love you, Protag-kun. Behold it.
The heroes have defeated the Guardian to the point of coalescence and have the ability to contact a god with the hopes of saving Annie. Who will they pick? What will the deal be that they make? Find out now on Dice Age.
No! I'll get you one day, Protag.
I'm one step closer to being the best recapper in the world.
Anybody else understand Japanese? Because that's all I heard.
I don't know what just happened.
Okay.
Why does my throat hurt?
This is
Mitchell, what the fuck happened to your hair? It's super spiky.
The fuck? Jesus.
And it's bright pink.
okay. Well, I don't know what's going on, but I think for now we should just return to the world of Elmera. So, we return to the caves beneath Avon. We've been here for forever now, but this might be the last time that we're here for an episode. Depending on how things go. So you're in this cave. It's completely dark, no illumination. However, because you all have dark vision, you can see around pretty good. Still, again, all the walls of the cave and even around the columns that are being used to support this high vaulted ceiling, you see reliefs and murals carved into the stone depicting the history of the Asori people. And seated, or maybe seated is the wrong word for it, but in the center of this room is the now rapidly destabilizing corpse of Radimus Rex, former hero and legend among the adventurers of Elmera. And seated, and not seated again is the wrong word. In the back wall of this room, you see a swirling golden light that you all instinctively know to be the point of coalescence, the spot where the wall between this world and the realm of the gods is weak.
Yeah, I think last time we had broken off like the shaft of the spear arm,
yep,
or the lance arm. Yeah. And we put that in the bag of holding. Just going to turn to the others. Are we ready?
Yeah.
What is the plan?
The plan is to speak. The plan is to speak with a Lothan.
Sounds like a solid plan for something like this.
All right.
Oberon, will you be the one speaking?
I'm the one who's making the request. I feel like it's only right that I make contact.
Good.
All right.
Edgar in his Asori form, who's still in his Asori form, I mean, is also going to just pipe up now and be like, I have one request while we do this. Do everything that we must. It is the priority, of course, to make this deal for Annie. But as we are in there, one of the things we are asked to do by planning, and one thing I would like to do while I'm there, is try to beseech whatever I can of Femora. I ask if that's okay with all of you.
I have no issues.
If we are able to, then yes. But should we, for some reason, we be on a time crunch, should we only have one being that we can talk to, it will be Alothan first.
All right.
I'm going to point real quick to Kilsey. I'm going to look over at Kilsey. Kilzer and Lekoroth. Do you know what will happen when we mortals engage with this point?
Hilsey looks a little confused, and then like his eyes go wide. He's like, "You're not planning to enter, are you?"
That's why we were brought down here. That's why we were being brought to this thing.
This is right here. This is the place of coalescence. The mortals should not enter into the realm of the gods physically. It could have dire consequences. Why? You can beseech a god from here, but if you were to enter into that realm, there's no telling where you would arrive or what would be waiting on the other side for you. Why?
All right. I guess we'll start here then.
Right. So I just have to say, Wayne, you said you were going to be talking to the goddess Elathan?
Yes.
Do you mind if I wasn't in the room for that?
I would prefer it.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I get out of this form?
I would recommend it, maybe.
Just pops back.
All right. Yep. Oberon, not Oberon. Edgar, you change back into your regular form, dropping your Asori form.
Kind of dropped his demon form. Just not that it's a big problem, but like his wings kind of revert back into his back.
Yeah, and then Kilsey heads down the hall.
Wait, just real quick, was Kilsey planning to go through the point, like to go?
Kilsey does plan to go through. Because his mission on the mortal realm is completed.
Got it.
It's just
how far did Kilsey go?
He doesn't want to take any chances, so he's going to hide behind the corner, the bend in the corridor, back up to the place of coalescence.
No, sneaky little asshole. I mean, okay, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, of course.
Look, he's a minor celestial. He doesn't want to have to face off a god of an enemy pantheon.
Yep.
At this point, as soon as he walks by, Oberon's just going to feeling a bit of fatigue, aka a lot of fatigue, kind of drops down to a knee and is just going to close his eyes and just. Oberon probably hasn't seriously prayed in years, and he's just going to. Lady Alothan, I know that I have not been a devout follower, very much of a follower at all, really. But in this time of need, you are who I trust to turn to most. Please.
Yeah, so I won't make you make any checks. I was having Edgar doing checks partly because it was in the middle of combat, partly because he was beseeching a dead god. You are in a place where the wall is weak. You are at a place where the boundary between your world and the realm of the gods is almost non-existent. So you speaking out these words, it takes a few minutes as you're concentrating on your prayer. but eventually emerging almost as if from the light itself, a tall, rail thin figure emerges, like kind of like there's like a swirling of magical energies at the base before this light, this point of coalescence, and a tall, very slender, very thin figure of a what to you all does appear to be a wood elf woman, darker skin, long hands and pointed eyes, and she is clothed in a simple robe, and carries in her hand a book that seems to hum with arcane ability. And she looks down at you, Oberon, and says, "Speak, my child. What is it you would ask of me?"
Oberon, whose head is still like directly facing the ground, my sister has come to have a terrible curse upon her. Due to her
Sorry, go ahead.
Due to her proficiency in the arcane arts, she has drawn the ire of one of the most dangerous men in all of this region. I beseech to you for help.
You speak of Annie, daughter of Regulus, and sorry, just a second. Wow, I really fucked this one up. Hold up. I knew I had this. Just a second.
Keep in mind, Annie and Oberon don't have the same.
No, I
mother.
know. That's why I'm having to remember.
Double check.
Yep. Sorry. Okay. Right. Of course, you speak of Anastasia, daughter of Rosalind and Regulus. She is in peril.
Yes.
Who is it that puts your sister in peril, Oberon, son of Regulus and Melody?
It would be my grandfather, my lady.
Her eyes kind of widen a bit, and she says, "Indeed. So, Regulus, first of his name, would act against his own kin." At that, give me an insight check, everyone who's watching this.
Okay.
Absolutely.
11. Double 11s, yeah.
It's a nat 20 for T.
Mine with you, but you see what it
No,
is,
yes.
right, Jack? It's a 20.
Yeah. Anything from Edgar? Oh, no, Edgar did go.
Yeah, 11
Tauros,
for me.
Tauros. My thing is taking its sweet time. There we go.
23. Okay. Wow.
Damn, okay.
So the only people who don't pick up on anything are the human and the half elf.
Heretics.
So
Say the heretics.
all three of the rest of you, Oberon, T, and Tauros, you all notice like the smallest bit, like flash of a smirk on the goddess's face as she says what she says about Regulus moving against his own kin. And she says, "I see. And she kind of like, her eyes, like she looks up to like a corner of the room, but you can tell that she's not really looking at what's in the room. She's like sorting through something in her mind.
Mhm.
And she goes, yes, I do. I can see why she would be in danger because of him. Yes, yes. How is it that you wish to help your sister? What of my powers are you hoping to gain in assistance?
Oberon's just gonna like swallow for a second. Just, is there, as the goddess of secrets, is there any way that you would be able to permanently hide her from his sight?
An interesting question. Yes, I do believe I could. It would not be very difficult for me to do so, and I give me a persuasion check. 13?
13.
All right. So she says, there is a way in which I could hide her. However, as you and I both know, your grandfather is not one who would give up on his ambitions lightly. I am familiar with your sister. She is a gifted practitioner of the magical arts, one who does do her best to keep me in her prayers as she continues her education, something I do appreciate. I am inclined to assist you. For, if nothing else, then perhaps as a favor to a devout follower of mine. Give me another insight check.
Trust this bitch for shit.
23.
Like I didn't at the beginning, and
15.
then fuck 6.
16.
So 4.
I'm distracted thinking about
All
that
right.
smirk.
Oberon is locked in. Oberon needs to be able
Lock
to
in,
I
lock
need-
in.
Vibe check. The vibiest of checks.
Oberon, as she says that she would do it because she would be helping a follower of hers, you definitely get the sense that there's more than that of the reason why she would be wanting to help Annie. You can't pick up on exactly what her plan would be, but she has motives other than just that. And she says, there is a way that I could keep Annie safe from your grandfather. However, it may come at a bit of a cost. I am indeed a goddess of secrets. I am able to understand and glean knowledge and insight from places even those who believe themselves to be perfectly secure in their own safety measures and whatnot. However, sometimes secrets, I may have to do something a bit more potent of a secret than to simply disappear your sister.
And what would that be, lady?
I could make it so that everyone forgets about your sister. If we could do this, your grandfather would have no reason to seek recourse against you or anyone else he would find responsible for the disappearance of your sister, for he would not even remember that she existed. And, if I am speaking plainly, I find your sister interesting. And I think that I might even learn a few things from her. What I offer you is this. should you bring your sister here, I will gladly take her into my realm within the world of the gods. She would become my student. She would learn under me, but no one would know not only where she is, but who she was. And at the time at which she developed her arcane abilities to their maximum potential, and I have learned as much as I can from my own interactions with her, I will happily return her to this mortal world as a fully fledged wizard, perfectly capable in defending herself and keeping herself safe.
I want to incite the fuck out of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If there was ever a time for a nat 20.
Insight's a 19. You can also give me a religion check if you want to think about the abilities or the history.
My
of this
religion
goddess.
is so much more shit. That I literally can't roll higher than that, even with a nat 20 religion check.
Mm-hmm. Let's just see. It.
Okay, I'll see it. If it's a nat 20, it's a nat 20.
All right, 17. So 17. She is the goddess of secrets. She is the goddess of magic. If there's anyone who could pull something off like this, it would be her.
Mm-hmm.
With a 19, I'll say because you did so high on your previous insight checks, I'll have the DC is a little lower, and you can tell she genuinely does not mean for any harm to come to Annie. But again, you feel as if there's another reason behind motivating her to do this, not just to be helpful.
When you say everyone would forget her, does that mean everyone?
Indeed, Oberon. You, everyone, your father, your mother, and your stepmother, all of the Claudius family, all of the beings of this plane would forget that Anastasia Claudius ever existed.
Oberon's kind of just looking at the ground right now. As he does,
may I ask a question?
Certainly, you may ask me a question, Auric, son of Gran and Serene.
No, you know what? Never mind. I don't want to ask any questions.
No, please ask a question. Questions are how we learn.
You flopped it on the table. I'm just
he takes a couple steps forward. She says that, and you see him take the steps back. You see him almost shrivel as he kind of just shakes off. You said she will be returned as a full wizard.
Indeed.
Will the memories still be faded at that time?
When she returns to the material plane, my protections will go along with it. Memories will return to those who have memories of her for there to be. She looks out to the rest of you all and says, while I'm here, I'm happy to answer any other questions. I do find the inquiries of mortals to be rather interesting at times.
Essa does step up.
Yes, Essa, son of Soren and Isabella.
He just goes, is there any way for these protections to fail before she's returned?
I suppose if I were to die, then yes.
Ooh, I don't like that implication.
However, I will say it is quite a rare thing for a god to die. And even then, if a god is killed or something of that nature, they are not fully dead. At least not in the sense that mortals understand it.
Edgar has not been looking. He has been behind Woon at this point, like just like petting him if one would allow. At that, Edgar is like gone from petting to like gripping Woon very tightly, trying desperately not to say anything to
Moon
Alon.
just, Moon just yelps.
Have I said something to intrigue you, Edgar, son of Regulus and Sierra?
Guys, I'll explain later.
What the
Was
fuck?
hoping that
Everyone looks at Edgar.
was hoping that wouldn't happen. Fuck.
Oh, have I accidentally divulged a secret?
Yeah.
I do that.
Oopsie.
Well, it seems the cat is out of the bag, as they say. So you may as well ask me a question at this point.
I'm good.
Are you
This is
certain?
not my conversation. I'm good.
Very well.
Is Oberon still like hasn't looked up since this conversation started? Just, should Annie? Is there a way to keep her hidden and safe while keeping her on the material plane?
My power is limited on this mortal realm. I'm sure you all are aware that the gods are not able to directly intervene except through their messengers, their angels or prophets and things of that nature who are able to be afforded some amount of their divine power. We could perhaps hide her in a temple devoted to me. However, as I understand it, your grandfather has power in the mortal realm that could override even my own power. Something along the lines of, I think it's called politiques.
Close.
Close.
You're telling me the god of secrets
Nailed it.
doesn't know politics?
That's
Get
it.
the
Okay,
fuck
there we
outta
go.
here.
There we go. That's the word. No, yes, I'm sorry. I'm not used to speaking common. This is unusual for me.
You're doing
I-
great.
Well,
I-
thank you, Tiana, daughter of Harrison and Eileen.
Would have been really awkward if
Oh,
there was a
geez.
name there.
Yeah. Daughter of Jeff and
The killer?
Shut up.
Uh,
Fuck up.
I do have one question here. You mentioned everyone would forget about Annie, but would she remember us?
She would. My secrets. The secret would be of her existence. That is what I would be hiding. I'm not hiding her own memories from her, I'm hiding the memory of her from others. I will say, if it is her arcane ability that is what your grandfather is after, I do have the power to take that away from her. However, and at this, she kind of looks at Oberon with like eyes with like pity, and she says, I do not need to remind you, Oberon, of the reaction your grandfather has for his scions who disappoint him.
And what would be the cost of this favor, lady?
Dear child, the cost is that you would lose the memory of your sister.
But the magic being taken away.
Oh, the magic being taken away. My apologies. That is something I can do. I at this she like realizes she's gonna have to. So she says, "I have my own reasons for." She's like looking away and says, "Disrupting the plans of Regulus." At that, I could get another insight from everyone.
I was gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Damn.
Damn.
He's just distracted.
That one.
Why? Why?
Oberon's
Come
the
on.
whole thing Oberon's been doing is training up his insight, and it's just a 15. Okay, I'd say with a 15, you can definitely get a sense of disdain as she says this, but it's not clear as to who exactly it's aimed at or what the cause behind it is.
As she finishes that, Oberon for the first time is going to look up, and as he does, there's like almost like what could be like the beginnings of tears in his eyes. My lady, I know that I am already asking a lot. She's almost all the family I have left. There's some machinations happening with my grandfather that you know of that could, even should she go with you, if that knowledge could still stick with me so that I would know and I could prevent this from happening further, please, my lady.
Give me a persuasion check with advantage. Wow. Okay. The DC was 18. You hit a 20. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. So she sees your tears and seems genuinely moved, and then says, "I understand you. I don't believe there is much harm in telling you this. There is no love between me and Regulus Claudius, though he is quite gifted in the matters arcane. He serves a goddess whom I am not the most fond of. And, as I said, gods rarely can have a direct impact on the material world. Gods also can really have a direct impact on the gods themselves without risking their very existence. But having an agent of one god act against the agent of another, that is something that can be done."
Jack, can I scramble my brain at all using all my previous knowledge to figure out what goddess she may be alluding to based off of like maybe like details of like relationships that Alothan may have had that like she has negative impacts with other goddesses?
Give me either a history or religion check. And I will say, because it's specifically about a god that your grandfather is in the work of, I will give you advantage on this.
Okay, come on.
That is an 18,
18.
which was the DC.
Oh.
Oh shit!
Hey, you're fucking
As you're
nailing
racking
it
your
today.
brain, you're trying to think of like gods that your grandfather would be in the service of, gods that your grandfather would work with. I imagine that for a while you would have assumed Elothan would have been a major god for your grandfather, considering his focus on the arcane. However, clearly Elothan is not a fan of him. As you're thinking, you think, well, who? And then it clicks. Your grandfather has long been, since the inception of the empire, has been the right hand of the god of the immortal empress Ava Nemain. The immortal empress not only is she the immortal empress, she is also the head of the Sylvanus Church and a prophet of the goddess Morrigan, the head of the Sylvanus pantheon. As you piece that together, you remember this is like some old like theological stuff. This is stuff that like doesn't usually come up for anyone. But you being an elf, this is something you may have learned at some point. There, when in way back in the realm of the gods, the Sylvanus pantheon used to not be a united pantheon. The goddess Morrigan essentially subjugated all the other gods of the Sylvanus pantheon to work under her. One of those gods is Len, who became the chief god after the elves came to be. The chief god of the wood elves, the Linnaean forest, is named for him. Len was an unmarried god at the time of their subjugation, but when they were subjugated under the Sylvanus pantheon, they were essentially they did marry the one of Morrigan's children, Kidna. But from what you understand, Len was one who had no interest in marriage, and was in some scriptures that have been considered near heresy, coerced into this marriage, under threat by Morrigan. And Elathan is the sister of Len, and a very protective sister at that. Stands to reason that Elathan has very little love or respect for Morrigan, despite being members of the same pantheon.
Yeah. This all just goes through Oberon's head, and he's just like frantically like, and like the second he comes to the realization, he just like and his jaw is actually going to kind of set a little bit, and for the first time he doesn't look at her in anger, but it's just like a look of focus, and he just goes, "My lady, I understand. But I'm just going to say one thing." And at that, he's finally going to like rise up back to his height and just like look up at her. "My sister will not be used as a pawn in between the games of gods."
That gets a bit of a surprised look from Elathan, and she says, "What other choice do you have?"
He's going to kind of set his jaw. "The one that I'll make. The one that will protect her."
I see.
Will
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean it to hurt.
Oh, you're fine. "We will consider both your offers. We will return with Annie, whether it be for one or the other. Thank you very much for your guidance, my lady."
You are quite welcome. I hope you will come to the sensible decision. And with that, her essence, this avatar of hers, begins to break apart and flow back into the point of coalescence.
Second she's gone, Oberon collapses to the floor, just like completely, like mentally, emotionally, like spent, just like hands and knees, just like deep breaths, just.
That went so much better than I thought it would.
And it takes him like a moment before he finally like just stands up, and he like almost stumbles, but like catches himself, and he just turns to Edgar and just nods to him and begins walking back out the hallway to where Woon is, and just like collapses onto him and like buries his head in his hands.
All right.
Edgar, I believe now is your time.
Yeah. Before that, I'd been meaning to tell you all. Shay Malothan was the one who brought it up, but yeah, Oberon and I have the same dad.
All right.
Huh.
When we're out of the shitty divine cavern, we can talk more about that. But I'm sorry for not telling you all myself.
It's truly none of our business, but thank you.
Kilsey.
What?
Yeah. Ilothan's gone if you want to come back. I'm going to try something. I think I could use your help.
Yeah. Kilsey flies on in.
Jack, you mentioned on the sides there were markings, things on the walls related to Asori history, right?
Yeah.
I want to trace it and try to get whatever I can out of that before I actually engage with the point.
Yeah. Give me a history check.
All right. Can Kilsey give me advantage?
Yeah, Kilsey will help. Give you the help action.
Thanks,
You're still
Kilsey.
gonna fail.
14.
14. Okay. You are a Sori. You did not grow up in a Sori culture, though. So there's clearly a lot of meaning and importance to these things that you're seeing along the walls. You're having trouble necessarily deciphering them in a way that's understandable to you. There are occasional bits of Femoran script mixed in with things, but more like just kind of labels and stuff like that. Not really enough to form complete sentences or just give you and here's the people's history of the Asori. I will say what you do see is a lot of stuff describing this area as a holy site that the Asori, you can see them gathering here. You can see certain priests, figures you assume to be priests, speaking to this point. And in that point, you do see a figure, a relief drawing, similar to the figure you saw on the door leading into this section of the caves.
Gotcha. Are there any markings that distinguish this figure besides just their shape?
Their shape, the horns, there is I think there is a symbol in the chest of this figure, a symbol of a skull with horns growing out of it, kind of like curled ram's horns growing out of it.
Got it. I'm gonna try to copy that down as accurately as I can.
Yeah.
And then I'm just gonna take that piece of parchment, give it to T, because I think T has the back folding, right?
I do, yeah.
If you wouldn't mind putting that in there, so it's not any of our persons.
Sure.
I will say another thing that you see. This is on a. It seems, just from a quick glance, it seems a little more recent than the others. Not within the past year, still ancient. This is a site that's over 1,000 years old. But there is a etching of this point, but in the light, instead of the figure of this figure that's standing in the light, it kind of looks like a sphere with a halo glowing out from it, or like a like a halo, like in old like old Renaissance paintings, how they just draw a gold disc behind something like that.
Gotcha. On that same piece of paper, then, before I pass that to T, I'll draw that as
This is the kind of thing where if you sat down with a few hours to look at all these murals, you'd have a better chance of deciphering all of this, which is probably what Plan N was hoping to do anyways. But understandably, you are under a bit of a time constraint right now.
Yeah. All right. I'll try to note whatever I can, but Kelsey, I'm gonna try to beseech whatever I can of Famora.
Oh, Our Lady does not speak anymore, but you could reach out to the superior, to my lady that commands the Celestials in the service of my lady Famora.
Was that Baphomalia? Something like that?
Right, Baphomalia.
Baphomalia. Yeah. I guess I could do that.
Yeah, I'll say with Kilsey with you, you can easily beseech the presence of Baphomalia. Baphomalia, again, she is a major celestial, so she's someone that would, even in a hole the size of this in the wall, she would not be able to fully enter into the world. She's like an archangel, basically. But you will be able to beseech an avatar of her, like what Oberon did with Elothan.
Got it.
Before she's besieged, can I ask Kelsey something?
Yeah.
I guess I was going to go up and go, I know you said Famora doesn't speak anymore, but she is technically dead, kind of air quotes. I can speak to the dead. Is there any way that would help with the communication?
Give me a
Big brain.
Give me a religion check. It is a very high DC though.
Yeah.
God say on.
Mitchell.
There's a different nat 20.
It was a 23 religion
credit.
check, so unfortunately
I would have
that's
had either 19 or 20.
Mitchell, can you try again?
I was going to say maybe
more.
Just see. And here comes 19 or 20.
Okay. We're safe.
That was hilarious.
Beseeching a dead, even for a spirit medium that is practiced at mortal lives, beseeching a dead god is very different from beseeching a dead human.
It just popped in my head. It's like, she's technically dead. I speak to the dead.
No, it's a good idea, absolutely.
That would be hardcore. That would be fucking hardcore.
Yeah, I imagine like Essence tries to hold up the medium to the fucking point of coalescence, and it just shocks him.
It's the kind of thing. It's like when I think it was you that when you guys first arrived here, you tried to open yourself up to spirits and had that cacophony of screams and wails and things like. It would be even worse if you tried to directly commune with.
It like starts with that. It goes.
This is the place where people after they cross over go. So like, there's plenty of things.
His head just kind of.
It just Essa holds up and he just goes, nope, that's not working.
All right. So you, with Kilsey's help, are able to beseech Baphomalia.
Horse is going to also step out of the room.
You're going to step out of the room for Baphomalia's appearance?
Yeah, Taurus is going to step out of the room because Medir isn't very fond of,
I mean, Medir did decapitate Famora, so
yeah,
that's true.
We're not very cool, so he's just gonna.
That's hot.
He'll keep in the room, but he'll keep like towards the back.
All right.
You go to the back of the bus, Tauros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, you beseech Baphomalia. As you do so, eventually concentrating, looking at this, again, like sort of swirling divine magic, and appearing before you is a very tall, feminine figure. She wears like it's kind of like simple robes over her legs. However, they do not extend beyond her waist. She's bare chested, and in place, while humanoid in body form, her head is that of like a black goat, with curled and twisted horns emerging from her head, uh, and she looks to Kilsey, looks to you, and then says, "All right, you're an Asori?"
Yeah, hi. Half a sorry. Just kind of found out like 2 months ago. This is wild. Holy shit.
Yes, it has been quite some time since any of us have been able to contact one of Our Lady's Chosen.
Fuck. How are you?
Oh, well, I'm currently, working on trying to restore Our Lady. How are you doing?
Cool. Good. Great. Do you need any help with that on like the
Oh,
material plane?
it would be a
Okay.
terrible idea for you to come over here.
Gotcha.
You would
Yeah.
be destroyed very quickly.
Yeah. Kelsey said that.
Right.
All right.
Oh, Kilsey, how are you doing? Did you manage to take care of that? And Kilsey just goes, wait, wait. Yes, with the help of these wonderful, brave souls, I was able to defeat the fiend. And Baphomalia just smiles and says, "Well, that's it's good to know. I'm very happy for you, Kilsey. You've done a wonderful job." Um, but yes, how may I assist one who helped one of my soldiers here on the material plane?
Hey, I'm I'm really new to everything that has to do with the Asori, but I have met others. There's one named Planin Famora who's trying to lead a lot of people who are considered monsters to some form of life within this empire. He had asked us to come here to find out what we can about this point and Famora in general. So, I just need to know, is there anything we can do here on the material plane to help?
She like pauses and thinks for a moment and says, "The Sylvans are quite quite powerful. Um, they did manage to destroy our goddess, so that's points against us on that. But I suppose if you managed, this is a tall order. I understand. You could weaken the number of or the fervor of those who worship the Sylvan gods. You may be able to weaken them in this world as well. However, I understand that this is something that one person alone could not really meaningfully accomplish.
No, yeah, I'm pretty strong, but no, yeah, I'll do
Right?
it.
No, I don't.
Uh,
Not after what Ava did. I don't want you to fight against that woman.
Pause. Alice, your typing is
Yeah.
coming through really loud.
Sorry.
Yeah.
uh,
It's still catching it. I don't know what's
Ow.
happening.
Ow,
How the
mic is
fuck?
off.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Hold up.
You know what?
mic was off.
Turn the mic off and try talking real quick.
Words and speaking.
Yeah.
It's not coming. It's not that mic.
It's coming.
It
You're
didn't
not that
turn on the
mic,
right
pal.
mic.
That's-
Not that mic.
That's probably why I wasn't picking up the.
I heard it earlier, and I was like, "Wait, her mic is
But
off."
no,
Why is
it's
it
all showing as hyper quadcast. All right, let me see. Is that still motherfucker? I'm gonna
And
kill
no
someone.
change in quality, so it
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, so it's
I-
not like it's switching mics.
Hate.
You might
There's
as well
You might just
hatred in
have
my
to
heart.
manually mute your Discord instead of.
Yeah.
I just plugged the whole shindig out and back in.
We know, we heard.
Okay.
Everybody
Podcast.
unplugged it, and we still heard.
Podcast. Let's try this.
It's still
Nope.
going.
You know what? I'm just gonna deal with muting Discord for tonight, and
Yeah.
I'll.
We'll have to figure that out later.
Hmm.
It's been breaking recently.
Fun.
Sorry.
No, yeah. Sorry. So she had just said, after what Ava did, I don't want you fighting against her.
I only know the story as they've told it from the Sylvanus point of view. What actually happened?
Oh. Although I don't know all the details necessarily. I'm not one who's been watching the material plane very much, but what I understand, something incredibly powerful came here, and she points at the ground below the point of coalescence. Cracks in the wall aren't normally cold points of coalescence. This place gained that name when this thing arrived. From what I understand is this was so the gods have their divine energy. As they do their deeds, they exact their will. That energy is, exercised. But some gods, as they increase their power, need to, if they're not using that energy, it has to be removed in other ways. And not long after Morrigan became the head of the Sylvius Pantheon, she became a quite powerful goddess indeed. And a lot of her excess divine energy needed a place to go. And at this, give me an intelligence check, just a flat intelligence.
Gotcha.
That's a nat
Natural
20. Nat 20 up for a
Ooh,
22.
baby.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As you're hearing this, you think back to that piece of the mural that you saw with that radiant orb that came from the place of coalescence. And she says, this was always a sacred place to the Asori. When that energy was released, it had a place to go, and it just so happened to come here. I'm not sure what happened between that and the elven conquest of this place, but at some point, Ava Nemain acquired that coalesced energy.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay.
What?
Oh shit. So it would make a lot of sense then why she would not want anyone to possibly get access to this point of coalescence.
Right. And that energy does need to get dispersed on occasion, and there's no guarantee that it would come here again. But in the event that it did, it would not be useful for a enemy of the Immortal Empress to have access to this location.
Shit. Okay. Alright.
But this is energy from a goddess, indeed. It did have to travel to the material plane. And this is not the plane of the gods. The gods have complete and utter control over their dominion, that realm. They can change it, morph it however they want. So, and as so long as they have the belief and fervor of their followers, they can regain that energy. Mortal doesn't work like a god. That energy doesn't replenish because of followers.
She's not looking too great right now, so
She's not.
no. Not when we last saw her.
In that case, she may be running out in that. But how long? I'm sorry. Time does not work always the best. Translated between your realm and my own. How long has it been since that occurred?
Since what occurred, Jack?
Since the Empress managed to collect that energy.
Oh, fuck, I guess. Would this be like the start of the counter from what we know?
So you would definitely know this. I'm not going to make you make a roll for this.
Mhm.
We started the year 999.
Yes, that's it. The founding of the city of Avon happened in the year 20 SE.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's so to say that's not necessarily when the coalesced power of Morrigan appeared, but that is when the city was founded, and the city, as you know, was built on these ruins of a Sori temple.
Yeah.
And it's the year 1000.
Yeah. It's been at least 900 something years of Malia, but I don't know for sure. That's when Avon came to be, at least. The city that they built here.
See. Yes, in that case, it may be a short amount of time, it may be longer, but Morrigan will have to discharge that energy again at some point.
Pardon, my lady. Would the Immortal Empress, as she stands currently, be able to take in that energy? It sounds like quite the ordeal to go through.
It is. It's the raw divine power of a god. That's not something that anyone could take on lightly. She has done it before.
He kind of makes eye contact with Edgar as she says, "So then there's a chance that someone very high up in the Empire is looking for a new vessel for this energy."
New vessel for the energy, or if she were to get it back, she would regain the abilities that she had.
It could also
Or
be. They could also be looking for a conduit, perhaps something to filter the energy, the raw power through.
Aye, that could happen. Yes.
there might be more than one player. There might be more than one player trying to take this energy too now.
That's true.
She kind of like looks a bit distressed, but she says, I understand that the powers of a god are tempting. But I would warn you, my son, that if you do seek this out, it would change you irrevocably. It would make you in the image of Morrigan herself, and
No, definitely not. Don't. Nope. I
right.
don't want
Okay.
it.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trust me.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
I'm kind of already fucky because I'm half elf already, and I can kind of turn into a silver being, but also a sword being. Yeah. What?
You're half elf and half a sword?
Yeah. It's weird. I know. I'm
Tears
sorry.
start to stream
Fucking
down
weird.
her face.
Kill this man!
Fuck.
Kill him!
And
What did I do?
She
What did I
puts
do?
out a hand. She puts out a hand and says, "No. You've done nothing wrong, my son. It's just, it's beautiful." How well did you know about Femora?
I really didn't. My mom had the Asori for me to keep me safe for a long time, but she did a good job of just teaching me to be open to every story, not just what the Empire told me. But then I learned a lot about her recently and really want to learn more.
No doubt you've heard that the Sylvanists killed her in retribution for the murder of Macha, daughter of Morrigan. I know that can't be true. Omora was deeply in love with Macha. They intended to wed. Before Macha was killed. So seeing you, a product of both my lady and her love, I'm sorry, it affected me a bit.
Edgar is crying. Edgar can't help. This is the first time genuinely someone that was not his mom, and it's whenever your mom says it doesn't mean the same, but someone is really happy for who he is, for what he is and where he comes from. And he's gone. He can't control any of his emotions as that happens.
Baphamalia begins to weep again with you. And that, like, Killsy kind of like looks around like he doesn't fully understand the implications of things, but he does like come up and give you like a little pat with his wings.
There's a nice hug to Killsy as that happens. Someone did not want them to wed then.
No.
Could it have been Morrigan herself?
You say that, and Baphamalia kind of looks to you and says, I can't be sure, but the one who is most strongly opposed. Whoa, fucked up the accent real bad there. For some reason, I keep slipping into a Philly with this accent.
You're doing so great.
If you
As another person with a Celtic
Virginia,
accent, you're doing so
they
great.
would hear
Mm-hmm.
You're doing fantastic, darling.
Thank
Keep
you.
going.
Can't be for sure. I can't be sure, but one who's the most outspoken against their love was indeed Maka's mother.
Have to kill your own daughter. Have to kill your daughter's love and your own daughter.
Morrigan, she is a goddess of sovereignty and conquest. And any opposition to her ambitions, she sees no trouble in destroying them.
I'm sorry I can't do more right now, Baphomalia. But I promise you, I might not be able to break whatever it is and get more of the truth out right now. But I'll spread what I can. Try to change what I can while I'm here.
She smiles and says, "It's more than enough, son. All that I ask of you is to live a life that you can be proud of, and that you do your best to find happiness, as I know my lady would want for you."
Edgar has essentially got Killsy in a chokehold because he didn't let go. And
He,
he's
he
just
does the thing where, like, every time you squeeze him, he go.
all right. Thank you. I don't know if we're gonna be able to come back here to talk to you anytime soon, but I hope I get the chance to see you again.
I'll let you know this. This is not the only part of where our worlds meet. I can't know where those other parts are from this end necessarily, but I can. If I feel you call out to me, I will do my best to arrive to you.
Thank you.
And
I'm gonna let go of Killsy.
yeah,
At
it kills
this
you.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Wait. And then Baphomalia says, "Well, I do believe, unless there's anything else you'd like to discuss, I do think this is time for me to escort our dear friend back to our realm."
This has been more than I could have asked for.
I'm glad to have answered what questions I could. And I'll let you know. It still got it.
You got to mute. You got to
Hurry
mute.
fast with this one.
Alice.
I saw you mute that mic and I knew it was coming. I was like, she
I
didn't
tried
mute
so hard
herself.
not to sneeze before. Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
Please
it's okay.
continue. This is beautiful.
No, but she says, we will all appreciate any work you can do to aid us in our attempts to revive Our Lady. I do want you to know that the responsibility does not fall on you. Even if you aren't able to provide us with any significant assistance or breakthroughs, you being here, being alive, and doing your best to have treasured memories with those that you love and care for. That is all our goddess would have asked of you, and it's all that I ask of you.
There's no words from Edgar, just the tears are coming back again, and he just gives a really emphatic nod. She wipes his face.
She smiles. She's still crying a bit too, and then she extends a hand, and Gilsey puts his little flappy penguin arm into it, and then goes, I shall see you all. I hope to see you all again soon, my great friends, slayers of fiends. I go now to my lady, and I hope that you all remember this day.
He will shake his flipper and say, "It's been a pleasure working with you."
And with you. And he looks around and like noticing that like Oberon isn't here, he says, even though he was a bit scary, he seems like a nice person. And I'm sorry that he's going through what he's going through. Wait.
Taurus
We'll
will,
let
like,
him know you
Comes in
said
and
so.
punts him. Punts him through the portal.
That's
Drop
literally,
into the
Watch
portal.
out, watch out!
that's literally the gif I just.
Is Taurus going to say something?
Yeah, he'll walk up from the very back of the group. He'll kind of walk forward and like bend a knee and kind of like down to his level and hold out like a little hand to shake.
It's like a slight echo going through Al's.
There is. It's because it's coming through her computer. You don't have to mute.
Fine.
It's a little more sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
It's all good. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So you get down, and he like looks kind of flabbergasted, but he shakes your hand, and getting a good look at you, Femora like sees the symbol of Midir on your armor. She kind of winces. I said Femora. I meant Baphomet.
I knew you meant the Celestial.
And she kind of winces when she sees that, but she doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Except she doesn't say anything like hurtful or mean, but she does say, I understand that people have those that they find comfort with, but Our Lady is a god of forgiveness, and should you ever find yourself questioning who it is you serve, I do believe we could find use for someone who has an oath to give.
He does not look at her. He does not look her in the fucking eye. He is looking at Kilsey. Like, he shakes his hand, and I imagine he gives him like a little pat on his little horned head, like without looking up.
Edgar's on like the side, just like, I don't know. That sounds.
I don't know if I was saying if it was me. He like very much he like focuses on like Kilsey, and he just says like very quiet. Just, what is Midir like? Really? Do you know?
She kind of bristles, and she just says, certainly skilled in the art of warfare and combat, and a truly loyal soldier who does not deviate from the commands of those above him.
He just kind of quietly nods. Should a mortal choose to change who they are, change who they follow, how would one do that?
She smiles.
He's again not looking at her like in the slightest. In fact, I don't even think he's looking at Killsy at this point.
Mhm.
He's like looking down at the chain around his belt with the Madeir dangling off of it.
She smiles down, though you can't see it, and says, breaking an oath made to a god is a quite serious affair. If I'm sorry, we have not had many paladin orders for Femora in quite some time, but you would need to forsake the oath you've made with your current deity, and that can have consequences, depending on who that deity is and how seriously they wanted your allegiance and loyalty. I will say, Midir can be a very vindictive man, but not always. He's not a god who keeps close tabs on each and every of his followers. That's not to say that you are guaranteed to avoid disaster, but you may be able to slip by certain things. Again, I am not Midir. I cannot tell you exactly, but and then once you are freed from the oath you have currently sworn, you need only to speak to. You can either attempt to contact myself or another Celestial of Femora, either on your own or with a priest who could help administer this connection, and we could forge a new oath for you, if that is what you desire.
I understand. That's all he'll kind of say as he stands, kind of like trying to kind of meet her gaze, mostly just out of respect, like for another person, not just like he's still kind of wavering from his glances, like not to fully look her in the eye. Just thank you. It's all I needed.
Very well. I shall take my leave, and I hope that you all find the happiness that you search for. And she and Kilsey walk back into the portal, returning to the realm of the gods.
Are you okay, Edgar?
He's staring there, still like trying to wipe tears away, but they keep coming back. Yeah, totally cool. Totally cool. That was not a big deal.
You're lying.
Congratulations, Edgar.
Tor's kind of like, I'm assuming he's actually pretty close to Edgar as he kind of stands, and he'll kind of like turn to like walk towards the exit. He'll just put a very firm hand, like a "got you, buddy," on Edgar's shoulder as he kind of like looks at him. Not saying anything, but he'll just.
We've got a lot to do, though. Can go back to.
Shall we perhaps make it back to a scry safe room at Chevreuse? And talk about everything?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right.
We should probably check on Oberon.
Yes.
All right. You all head down the hall to where Oberon was waiting outside of the room. I imagine Oberon is still just clutching on to Woon at this point.
At this point, he's still just like head in his like folded arms, just like sitting against Woon. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a choice to make.
We don't.
You do.
She does.
You're going to make her choose.
I'm going to give her the option to choose. She's young. She's smart. I can't.
She's a child.
Would you rather me make this decision for her? Something that could irreparably alter her life, make her something that she would either potentially hate later on down the line or something that she would hate right now. If you were given this choice, wouldn't you rather make it yourself?
If I was a child, I'd want the person taking care of me to make it. But that's me. I'm certainly not Annie.
Edgar's gonna put a hand on Oberon's shoulder here and be like, I'm with you. She at the very least deserves to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Should she not be able to make the choice? I will. Must hurry though.
Yes.
You all still have that breadcrumb trail that Edgar was leaving behind, so you are able to easily navigate your way out of the caves and back up
We
to the
find
city
out-
of Avon.
We find out Tauros was eating it on the way. Tauros!
No, we found Killsy. Killsy ate it and left us stranded here. That was the end game.
Mm-hmm.
No, he just replaced it with little like bird poops along the way.
No, Tauros
He's
ate it, and he's gonna
celestial.
blame it on Killsy.
Right.
Oberon's not even going to roll insight. He believes you.
Yeah. So it takes. I'd say it probably takes about. How long did I say it took you guys to get down?
It
into
took
the
us
cave?
about an hour to
Yeah.
get down here.
I'd say with you guys going back the way you came, I'd say you could probably shave off like 15 minutes from that. So it'd just be another 45 minutes to get back into the city, get back to Chevre's. When you arrive at Chevre's, before you come in, you say, "Hey, we're going back to that room." Blah 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 blah. Before you can even check in on Annie and stuff like that, T.
Oh no.
Oh my god, why am I blanking on her fucking name right now? You're
Cammy.
Cammy. Cammy comes up to you, T, and says, "Hey."
Number one, how dare you?
I know, but anyways, Cammy comes up to you and says, "Hey, a human came in here and they left this. They said it was for you." She hands you a letter.
Fuck. Okay.
Right now?
Thank you. I
took
hate you,
me a
first of all.
second. It took me a fucking
Give me a
second.
second.
Trey.
My man has been sitting on that joke for so long.
My mind was racing. I wasn't in fuck you.
Right
Thank
now?
you, Cammy.
Right. Is everything okay?
Kind of no. But I care about you too much to give you that dangerous information.
Give me a little insight check.
And so the little wave run out the bush went, oh!
9.
That
Okay.
should have been an insight check right there.
Okay.
Troy Bolton is not in the game tonight.
Yeah, she just kind of nods and says, "All right, well, you know, if it does get to the
Nothing
point
else
where-
happened while we were gone.
nothing of note."
Good.
Yeah, no, if I understand that, but about wanting to keep me safe, but I care about you too, and if there's a way I can help you, please tell me.
I appreciate you.
Bunch of fucking children in the voice chat. Wow.
No words were spoken. I don't know what you mean.
Surprise! I've been recording face cam for this episode.
I appreciate you, Cammy. Thank you. You know I'd do anything for you too.
Absolutely.
She'll take the letter.
You take the letter.
And, go to the scry room.
Yep. You enter the scry room. Looking at the letter, on it, it just says, to T from a potential friend.
Oh no. Oh no.
You've had too many of those. No.
That's
With
true.
benefits is under it.
No.
Question mark? Question mark at the end?
Do you open the letter?
Essa dear, I know you have a bit of a flair for the sneakier side. Is this trapped as shit?
Is the letter trapped?
Poison narcotic check?
Can I use the wand of revealing to see if it is trapped?
Yeah, you can. You have the wand of revealing.
Fuck yeah.
You activate the wand of revealing, and the closest thing is the letter. It doesn't do anything at the letter. It does point to a different direction, and you would know that is a secret door used to, like, hey, things went south. Like, if you need to bug out, this is the bug out door.
As he points at S's arm, just goes.
Oh, thank goodness. And then she'll open it up. She's not going to explain what that is. She's just going to open the letter.
You open the letter, and then it says, to the capable adventurers that I've worked with in the past.
I know who this is. I know who this is.
I understand that you are currently acting against a rather powerful enemy. I would be more than happy to assist you all in whatever scheme or plot you have working against him. If you are interested, please come see me. You know the place. And there's no name, but it is signed with a very beautifully calligraphied W.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
She's just going to put it in her shirt, dress rather. That is a letter that we're not going to think about right now.
Wanda.
That's W name. I have been sitting here trying to think of a stupid W name.
We found that bitch Waldo.
Okay, she is not going to share the contents of the letter.
Okay.
Probably smart.
Yeah, no, not with this conversation that's about to happen. Nope.
Right. Are you all talking by yourselves, or do you bring Annie into the room with you?
Have the conversation first, or
Oberon's just going to turn to everybody. I'm going to inform her as to what's going on. I'm going to let her choose. Should she... And he's just going to kind of like look away. Should she not wish to choose, or insist upon returning, and I'll take matters into my own hands.
We're here for you.
All right. So are you going... So just to make sure I understand, are you going to speak to her one-on-one, or are you going to bring her into the room with the rest of the crew?
I think the rest of the group is going to grab a drink while he has a one-on-one.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It's one-on-one.
All right. So you all head out to the bar.
You know the deal. Girly cocktails for everyone.
Right. you all get one free drink because you're T's friends. If you want anything more, you will have to pay for it.
And it has to be a small one. It has to be a small one.
Yeah, it fits in like a one of those sample solo cups that they like give out. Like it, it only holds like about 4 ounces. But
It's a Jello shot.
yeah, you get a Jello shot. Everyone can get a free Jello shot.
We're fucking loaded. I think we go to town.
You're just gonna get fucking drunk.
Ooh,
You're
Jello
gonna get
shot.
super drunk right before you have to go back,
Drunk.
decide what's
Not
gonna
drunk,
happen.
but we're tipping like we fucking own this place.
Okay, you guys did just get a bunch of money in that
Yeah,
dungeon. So
We did.
This is how we get rid of our copper, guys.
if you don't exchange it, we just spend it. All right. Anyways, so Oberon, you're alone in the room. You have Annie with you, and she says, "So, what's going to happen now? Am I?"
Annie. I know that kept you in the dark at the start of this. That was for good reason. Annie, those people who kidnapped you, they were after you for your magic.
She kind of eyes go wide, but she does nod, and she says, I had thought it might be related to that or to our family."
Yeah, it is. Person who wants you is very powerful. And they won't stop at anything to get you. This was only the first step. And I'm not going to be able to be there every single time or have the means to save you every single time.
So what does that mean? We can't. Grandpa can't help us?
No. He can't. There are two ways that you can be safe. Before I go into them, I need you to understand what I'm about to tell you is for your ears only. This cannot be said back to Castor. This cannot be said back to Father. This cannot be said back to Edgar. This cannot even be said back to Grandfather.
Yeah. Give me a little persuasion check.
Oh.
With advantage. You're her older brother.
Oh,
It's a
24.
24. Yeah, no, she still looks very scared, but she nods, says, "Okay, I promise."
There is a hidden temple below the city. Do you know what a point of where the wall is weak? It's the common phrase I'm hearing.
Mm-hmm.
We found a point like that.
Her eyes go wide. She says, "So you can get a god to help me?"
Yes. Alathan.
Like she starts nodding her head. She's like, "Oh yes, I certainly she'd be able to help. Absolutely, she's the goddess of secrets."
Yes. There are two options. The more risky option, she would be able to seal your magic away.
Like confusion on her face, and she's like, "What would I, without magic, what would I do?"
As she says that, Oberon's going to like take a knee and just like put his hands on her shoulder. Just amazing things. Look, and he's going to gesture to himself. If I can do this with no magic, I can't even begin to imagine what you could do.
Give me a persuasion check. No advantage. Another 24.
Oh!
She still looks frightened. She still looks like the idea of not having magic terrifies her. But you're her big brother. And you're really cool. And you can do a whole lot of cool stuff. Yeah, like, maybe she doesn't. It will still suck to not have her magic. It'd be something that, like, she would really have to. Her whole personality and life has been built around her ability to use magic, but maybe she'd be able to find something else that she could do.
If we went this route, and like he just like bites his, like grits his teeth, we wouldn't be able to stay in the Empire.
Then her eyes go wide again, and she's like, "But where would we go?"
We would go with my friends. We would find somewhere safe. I know we would.
Okay. What's the other option?
Ron in his mind was like, I was really hoping you wouldn't ask that.
She's an inquisitive mind. She's gotta
I
know.
Oh, I know. Alothan offered to hide you away in her realm.
Eyes like as wide as dinner plates at this point.
You would be kept there, safe from all those who would search for you. Nobody would be able to find you. Nobody would look for you. She would personally teach you magic.
That sounds incredible. Why? If I could learn magic from the goddess herself, that would be amazing. But I'd have to be there
You
by
would have to be
myself.
there. She would be there with you, but you would have to be there by yourself for years until she felt as if you were capable of defending yourself.
See. And at this, I will need a deception check from Oberon because he's not lying, but he is omitting.
He's withholding.
Can I get advantage because she trusts me so much?
That's hard. That's cold-blooded, man. But I'll allow it.
It's cold-blooded.
Oh, that's only a
Ooh.
12.
My rolls have failed me in this
Now-
moment of need.
Here's the thing about your sister. She's a gifted wizard. Incredibly powerful magic user, even at her age. She is also a child. So she does not have the best wisdom. She has a +1 to her insight.
She needs 11 or higher.
50% chance.
So let's see what she rolls on a d20. That is a 2 on the die for a total of 3. It is hard. You hate lying to her. But you can see she does not realize you are omitting a vitally important detail from this option. She looks at you. Sorry, go ahead.
But he is going to look at her and go, One thing you must understand, though, this may be the most important aspect of it. Balothin is not doing this out of the pure kindness of her heart. There is a other member of the Pantheon that is acting against Balothin in certain ways. She is very upset at them. She hopes that, and they are the one of their chosen is the one who is targeted. She is hoping that by training you, she will one day have someone who is of equal, if not greater, power to them. She's looking to eventually make you, and he's just gonna like bite off like her tool, essentially.
Okay. She thinks on this. And then she looks at you and says, well, she is a goddess. And, nurse, it makes sense that she would still demand a price because, even, every great prophet has to give something to obtain the divinity of a god or their divine power, so to speak. And, it is kind of what we owe to the gods to be their tools, right? And if I'm being chosen of a Lothan, that could be incredible.
Annie, please. And like at this point, I understand the opportunity sounds incredible. It does. But you are so much more than this opportunity. Do not place yourself below this pedestal that you think you are about to be raised up upon. Should this be your decision, I will support it. Do not make the decision because you believe that the end of your life, or your life's goal should be to be of service to a god. Should you do this because it is what you wish to do, because it's what they wish to do.
She looks confused. She says, but aren't we supposed to live our lives in service to the Sylvans? Isn't that the reason we're here, is to do what we can to aid them in their conquest and glory in the outer plane? To enact their will on our plane here? And you recognize that these are the teachings of the Sylvanist Church.
It is like a punch straight to the face. Like, Annie, all those words have been what we've been taught our entire lives. I think I'm finally starting to see that they're not what is truly important right now. Annie, you are the most important thing to me right now.
Give me one last persuasion check with advantage for being a good big brother. The DC was 12.
Oh man.
You hit it with that 13. You said a lot of the right things that knocked that DC down.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
And she still looks confused. You can see it's plainly written on her face. This is completely opposite of what she has been taught growing up. But you're her big brother. You saved her when she got kidnapped. You kept her safe while you went out to find a solution for her. If you tell her that her safety and her prioritizing her own desires or happiness over those of what a god has intended for her feels blasphemous, feels wrong, but she loves you and she trusts you. And she says, okay, don't know what I'll do when I lose it, but I guess if we can stay together and you can keep me safe like I know you can, I think I'll take the option to have my magic taken away.
He's just gonna like envelop her in a hug.
She hugs you back, begins softly crying as she knows something is going to happen that's going to change her life forever. And that's where we end it for this episode of Dice Age.
Oh boy.